Oh, it's recording. Okay. I was like, please. Awesome. Just trying being discreet. Put this over here. Okay. Let's look. Got your notebook. I got a pencil over here. Awesome. So, just to review, let's go over our D major scale really quick. And for this one, I really want you to play with Mississippi stop-stop rhythm, so I'll model it for you just so you're not confused. It goes... And I want your stops to be really stoppy with a little bit of space and sticky staccato. And you don't have to go that fast if you don't want to. Awesome. I really liked your Mississippi stop-stops. The stop was there, and you could hear this. But what I want more of is I want a little bit more bite to it. So if this was an apple like we used last week as an analogy, it wouldn't be like mushy and day old. It would be really crisp. It wouldn't be like, it'd be like, it's like got a little bit of punch to it. Like, pa pa. Oh yeah, kind of like that, but actually not fighting. Okay, so can we try that again? Actually, let's just try that on our open D together. And I want you to remember we talked about bow farts. Like that nasty sound. Yeah, that's a beautiful bow fart. I love that. So we're gonna make a bow fart and release. Put a little bit more into it. Okay, do it for me a couple times, just so I can see. Yeah, I can see that the effort is there. So just think about every time you do a stop-stop. Almost as if you're going to make a bow fart. Okay, so can we try that? If it helps, if you don't want to look at the laptop, you don't have to. If it makes you feel like uncomfortable or anything, you don't have to. But let's try that at just the first octave to your D string. And I want you to really just stop and think about your bow farts and getting into the string. You know what might help is if you start maybe just a bit lower in the string, maybe not so much up here. Awesome. Okay, so for this week, that actually sounded a lot better, and I could tell that you were really thinking about it. So that was absolutely great. So this week, for your D major scale, just keep it the same, Mississippi stop-stop. And just before every stop-stop, I want you to stop and think about putting more weight into the bow, into the string. Or like, you could even start by making a bow fart. I mean, you don't want to play your whole scale like, because that's nasty. But if you just think, if you just start out with a little, never heard it, but just make sure you release, so you're not grinding it out, okay? So this week I want you to practice that before every stop. Stop. Think about bow. Yeah. Yeah, I can check it. Alright, so we have too low or too high? Too low. Yeah. Too low or too high? Sorry, I didn't know. A bit too high. I think it was just a bit too low. We didn't even tune, did we? I just had you jump into the scale. Okay. Well, when you're practicing this D major scale, make sure that you're in tune before you play it. That might help. So, before every stop, think about your bow farts and release. Think about a bite or punch. Maybe that helps. Awesome. Okay. Now, we did our D major scale. Let's go over our C major scale. And this one, we're still working on sticky staccato. So let's just do our open C. Let's just work on. Yeah, you're getting a lot better at that. So with that kind of stroke, we'll do 2 notes per bow. So we'll do. Okay, so that was a lot. I heard the space really well, and the staccato is getting along, like I said in the last scale. Can you play the top octave too? So when we do this scale, we're gonna play 3 octaves. I know, so we got the low octave and the high octave. So let's go ahead and put those 2 together, okay? Okay. It goes from your C, and then you go down. Oh. Right? Yeah. was really good. One thing I absolutely loved was your ringing tones. They were so good. I could hear them almost each one was ringing. And even like your A string or your A on your G string, and that's kind of a hard one to hit. It was great. I could tell you were practicing those. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew I could hear them. Ringing tones are great. Are great. With an 8. But make sure that when you're still practicing, and even in your D scale, that you're still listening for those all the time. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at minuet, and then with the remaining time, we will work on composition. Take a look at that. Just checking the time. All right, what do we got?
Should I run through it?
Why don't you? Let's not play the repeat for this time, so we can just get. Good. Okay. So looking at this, I can tell that your finger before bow and your practice with that has gotten a lot easier, and it's made it a lot easier. You didn't stop or struggle at all with any of these 8th notes, which is really good. But now let's work on consistency with how they sound, because what's the difference between or what's the difference between the two?
The first one sounded well, the second one sounded a bit better than the first one because it had more clear of a tone.
Yeah, it was a lot clearer. So with these, I wouldn't say sticky staccato, because there's no staccato mark over these 8th notes, right? So we don't want whatever. But we do want a nice clarity, and we want just a hair, like a measly little hair of space maybe between them. So we have. So let's just keep those nice and consistent and make sure that all of them have that sticky staccato, or not sticky staccato, but just a nice clear tone with space. So let's start at, we'll start at measure 10, and your dynamics were pretty good, but when we get here, can I have just a little more sound? You play, it's mezzo forte, but maybe you play a little mezzo piano. It was just, I could use a little more sound personally. So let's go ahead and start at measure 10. Okay, your 8th notes were a lot better, and I could tell that you were thinking about those, so great job. Those sounded absolutely consistent. So I want to work on this one a little bit with sound, because although this whole thing is piano and mezzo forte, right, I mean, you're going to be up there, and there's not going to be a lot of there's not going to be anyone playing with you, so there's really no need to be like, because when people are going to be listening, and it's like you want to produce a sound that everyone could be like, whoa, she's one person making all that sound, because we're violists and we can make a lot of sound, because our instruments are a lot bigger than violins, so we have a lot of room to make noise. So I want to start at the beginning, but it says mezzo forte, but let's really give it a nice, like, almost as if it's forte, like really pushing it. Let's try that up to the first ending, okay? That sound at the beginning. I feel like maybe when you got here, as it went on, it got a little quieter, but that's okay. I mean, what's really important is that at the beginning, you grasp the audience's attention with, because they'll be like, wow, that's crazy. But then at measure 10, we have piano, and you do a really good job with your pianos. But let's see, if in measure 10, 11, 12, 13, in a measure 13, if you could just grow slightly. So you don't give it all away at once, but you kind of work your way up to that mezzo forte. Let's go ahead and try that at measure 10. Is that G a down bow or an up bow? And how can you tell?
It's an up bow because it has an up bow marking.
Yeah, it has an up bow marking, right? And also, this is kind of silly. So the way our bows are designed, right, is if I were to drag my bow on the D string, it starts off loud and it gets softer. Because when I'm here, I can create the most sound. So as they give you an up bow, right? But the way our bows are designed is that it's going to get louder as you go up. So, do you hear how it got louder? So you really have to fight yourself almost when you're on that up bow, because you don't want to get louder, you're trying to get softer. So you really got to hold back on that one. So let's try it one more time, starting at measure 10. With the best and most dramatic dynamics I've ever heard in my life. I'm ready. So at measure 22, you have a mezzo forte, and it's after all this piano. You have, and what I really want is it's like, surprise! This song's not over. I want you to come in not quite yelling or screaming, but just a nice like, you thought this was over, but it's not. I'm coming in with my mezzo forte. So let's try at measure 20. Well, let's start at measure 18. And I'll play with you. And when we come in at measure 22, I want that mezzo forte to be like, boom, boom, I'm back. Hello. All right, ready? Starting measure 18. Ready? Sweet. So I'll let you try that one more time, starting at the same place that we both started at. And when you come in with that mezzo forte, I want to be almost blown away. Was pretty good. I would give it about, if this was a thumb scale like you use in Dolce, I'd probably put it about here. Can we try it again? And I really want you to just go for it. Like, don't be afraid. Whew, that's scary. Do not be afraid that you're too loud, because you won't be. And even if you are too loud, it's just me and you. It's like, no one's gonna, the dynamic police isn't gonna come arrest you, Yeah, that was so much better. So this week, I want you to practice looking at your dynamics and really making a contrast. I want to be able to, like, even if I wasn't looking at your music and I was standing over here and I was like, that sounds like piano. That sounds like mezzo forte. I want to be able to hear the difference. I'm going to put really exaggerate dynamics. And also work on your finger before bow is really good, and I want you to keep working on that so you don't lose that touch. Continue. Finger before bow. And consistency in your eighth notes. Consistency. Great, so let's pull out. We have just enough time to look at this. Mini waltz. Oh, it's so mini. It's so mini. Okay. You go ahead. Why don't you go ahead and play it for me? And ooh. Okay. No, I like it. It's great. So, mini waltz in C major. Okay, good. I loved how you put this rest in there because that's tricky. But what I'm wondering about is this rhythm here, because you got da 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 da. But what if? So we have rest. Oh, you meant to put a B?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and erase it, and
I just noticed that.
I like what you did at the... Okay, honestly, it's not written in, but I liked what you played there. Please be gentle. Why don't you set it on it? Yeah, great. So, in the last measure, you have... I like that. Oh, or you played... So, now we have... Okay. Yeah. So, let's see. How are your articulations? I loved these staccatos here. They were super sticky and really great. So we have sticky staccatos, we have some slurs there. Do you have any legato parts? Or where could you put a legato marking? Maybe. You got a tie here, and that's really nice, because ties are pretty tricky. I mean, if it's your composition, if you don't like the legato, don't listen to me. I'm not writing this. I'm not Kaylee Cook, the composer of this piece. Yeah, let's go ahead and play this together. And as we're playing, think about our bowings and what we're doing with our bow. Are we ending on a down bow? Are we starting phrases? Is this we're gonna do, like, where can we do bow circles, or, pay attention to that. 1, ready, go. Okay. I think that this sounds pretty neat. But the one thing that maybe sounds a little weird to my ear, I guess, is we have... Because you see how this B kind of sounds like it wants to go to C, and it doesn't. Well, it does, but not in the way that you want to hear it. So it's like... It kind of sounds like it wants to go to C, right? So, if you want, I mean, it's your composition, but I think that maybe if it went up to C, even for like just a hair, like an eighth note or something, it would be, the audience would be like, oh, there it is, and they'd like it. But if you like the dissonance, between your B and going up into the C, it's fine. But what are our other options there? What could we do? We could hold the B for a half note and do a quarter note. Okay. So let's play that.
Also, I
we'll
read through the alto clef.
Thank you. My alto clefs still need a little work. That's a good one, though. Okay, so let's just start the second line, okay? 1, ready, rest. Oh, that's a half note. That's my fault for not holding on to that. Ooh, this is good. And one thing about your title, I love how it's like mini waltz in C major. But if anyone's ever taught you about waltzes, which I've never really learned a lot, waltzes are typically in 3/4 time. So it's like boom, chick, chick, boom, chick, chick, boom, chick, chick, that feeling.
I was going to have like mini something in C major, but
I like the mini. I love it, but it's not quite a waltz. So we could do a mini dance in C major, because that's cool. A mini song. I mean, mini composition in C. And sometimes, like, even Bach, he writes, like, invention. So you could do mini invention in C. That could work, too. Well, when you're done naming that, you can go ahead and pack up, lady. Mini dance. I love it. Hold on to it. And I will let Dr. Lewis know that it's in some good shape, and hopefully, well, you'll be able to play it at your recital. And think if you'd rather play it before or after your minuet. So we have minuet. And maybe if you're really feeling like getting spicy with it, think about some dynamic changes, like forte, piano, mezzo forte. Jazz it up a little bit, make it spicy. Alright, and here's your notebook. I'll give you a second. Read. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, do your thing. So what else you got going on this week? Oh, reminder. Next week, we will not have a lesson because it is Thanksgiving break. And I will be with my family on Wednesday celebrating Thanksgiving. Well, not on Wednesday, but that's where I'll be. I'll be 2 hours away. Unless you want to drive 2 hours for a lesson, but maybe not. What do you usually do for Thanksgiving?
I usually went to my grandma's house because she owns a bed and breakfast.
Your grandma owns a bed and breakfast? That's so cool. Do you stay there? Did she make you breakfast? Is your grandma a good cook?
Yeah.
My grandma's a good cook. I mean, I hope so, if she owns a bed and breakfast. Maybe she, burns the toast. Or something. Go ahead and stop this recording so I don't have